Ever wonder if you're fertilizing at the wrong time? You don't eat breakfast before going to bed, right? Same goes for your plants. Fertilization is one of the most important things that you can do to keep your plants healthy and productive. Plants, like all living things, need nutrients to grow. You need protein, fats, and carbs. Plants need N, P, and K. We'll get into that later. But here's the thing. Timing is everything. If you fertilize at the right time during your plant's active growing season, it gives them the tools that they need to succeed. For most plants, that's in the spring and early summer when they're growing new leaves, stems, and roots. On the other hand, fertilizing at the wrong time, like during winter when a plant is dormant, can harm it. Over-fertilizing using the wrong type of fertilizer or the right one at the wrong time can also lead to problems like too many leaves and not enough fruit or flowers. To make sure you're helping, not harming your plants, always follow proper timing and use fertilizer carefully. There is a lot to unpack here, so let's break it down in this video. The role of fertilizers. Fertilizers provide essential nutrients that plants need to grow strong and fight off disease. The three most important nutrients are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Nitrogen for leafy growth, phosphorus for strong roots, and potassium for overall vitality and healthy fruit. But it's not just about primary nutrients. Micronutrients are also critical for plant health. Those include elements like iron, zinc, magnesium, calcium, which help with activities like photosynthesis and enzyme function. Two great ways to add these micronutrients to your soil are by using azomite or green sand. If you find the topic of micronutrients interesting, check out my video on the decline of America's produce, where I dive deeper into why nutrient levels in our foods have dropped over the years and how you can sidestep this decline. Key signs that plants need fertilizing. One of the key skills in gardening is learning to read the signs that your plants give you and knowing when they need fertilization. That's important. Actually, the most important skill in gardening is ensuring that your plants receive the nutrients they need from the start. Secondly, is being attentive and observant. If you see anything other than vibrant, thick, healthy green leaves, something's wrong. Or the plant is old, which keep an eye on your days to maturity. If something is wrong, it's fine, no big deal. You've just identified a problem, and that's the first step towards fixing it. I've been there myself, actually, many times, more than I'd like to admit, but this year specifically, I skipped the beans when planting the Three Sisters method, just to see what would happen. Huge mistake. Without the nitrogen boost from the beans, the corn's leaves started yellowing. After applying organic fertilizer high in nitrogen, the plants bounced back in 2 weeks. Gardening is a learning process, and even mistakes teach us how to better care for our plants. So don't be afraid to make adjustments as needed. Now, I love history. We're going to go into very briefly the history of fertilization in America. Native Americans of the Patuxet tribe taught the Pilgrims an effective fertilization method using fish in the spring. In the spring, they showed the Pilgrims how to plant crops by burying small fish, like herring, alongside the seeds. As the fish decomposed, they enriched the soil in essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. This technique played a crucial role in the Pilgrims' successful harvest in 1621, which led to the first Thanksgiving. Squanto's guidance in this organic fertilization method helped the Pilgrims adapt to the new environment and ultimately succeed. Knowing when to begin fertilizing your seedlings is key to getting them off to a strong start. Timing, like I said, is everything. If you fertilize too early, you risk damaging your plants. If you wait too long, they may not get the nutrients they need to grow successfully and be halted. Here's a general rule of thumb. Wait until your seedlings develop their first set of true leaves. When seedlings first sprout, they produce what are known as cotyledons, or seed leaves, which provide the plant with initial nutrients. Once the true leaves emerge, it's a sign that the plant is ready to start feeding from external sources like fertilizer. When it comes to fertilizing, I believe organic fertilizers are the way to go, and here's why. They're healthier for your plants, they're healthier for the soil, for the environment, and even, eventually, they're healthier for you. They feed the soil, which then feeds your plants over time, facilitating nature's natural process. Organic fertilizers release nutrients slowly, reducing the risk of nutrient burn and requiring less frequent applications. Some gardeners don't fertilize at all. They add a thick layer of organic compost to their gardens at the start of each year or the end of each year, and that's it. Plus, organic fertilizers improve soil structure, promoting a rich, healthier ecosystem for your plants. This creates a stronger, more resilient plant with deeper roots, better able to absorb water and nutrients. Organic fertilizers give your plants what they need without the risk associated with synthetic chemicals. Now, I know some of you still use inorganic fertilizers, and that's fine. While I'm a strong advocate of organic methods, I get that different approaches work for different gardeners. But keep in mind that inorganic fertilizers deliver nutrients quickly and can sometimes overwhelm your seedlings or plants if you're not cautious. If you choose to use them, always start with a dilution and follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. Apply sparingly to avoid burning the roots. Inorganic fertilizers need to be administered more frequently since they get used up quickly by the plants. These fertilizers drain away fast and bypass the need for soil organisms to break them down, which is why more frequent applications are needed. Another downside is that when plants consistently receive nutrients through inorganic fertilizers, they may lose some of their natural ability to hunt for nutrients in the soil. Is this an oversimplification? Yeah, but it helps make the point. If you'd like a full video diving deeper into inorganic fertilizers, let me know by spamming the comments with "It's what plants crave." In my view, synthetic fertilizers are a bit like steroids. They can boost growth quickly, but there are trade-offs in the long run. So whether you're going organic or using synthetic options, the key is balance and care. But if you're looking for a healthier, more forgiving way to fertilize, organic really is the best choice in nearly every way. If you're enjoying this video and the content that I create here on YouTube, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It's free and it helps support the channel so that I can continue bringing valuable gardening tips and insights. And if you want to take that support to the next level, consider becoming a member of this channel. As a member, you'll receive a crop share of the seeds that I produce and collect each season. Instead of spending hundreds of dollars every year on seeds that may be old or bad quality, you can get seeds directly from where you can actually watch them grow here on YouTube. And thank you for the support. And even just for being here and watching this video, thank you. When it comes to applying fertilizer, there are 3 common methods: spot fertilization, line fertilization, and broadcasting. Each has its benefits depending on your garden and crop's needs. Spot fertilization, or digging a small hole and placing the fertilizer in one location near the plant roots, is a method my grandmother used to use with great success. By concentrating nutrients near the plant, it encourages deep root growth and conserves fertilizer. This method is especially effective in smaller gardens or when using organic fertilizers, as it reduces nutrient loss. Next is line fertilization, also known as banding. This involves applying fertilization in a line between plant rows, delivering nutrients directly to the root zone, Research shows this method improves nutrient uptake and is highly effective for crops like tomatoes, cucumbers, and corn. By targeting the root area, it minimizes runoff and ensures plants get what they need. Lastly, we have broadcasting, where fertilizers spread evenly across the soil surface. This is best for covering large swaths like fields or lawns. While it's great for spreading nutrients over a wide space, it's less efficient because nutrients may wash away before the plants are able to absorb them. Overall, line fertilization is often considered the most efficient way to fertilize, and is how I fertilize established plants. But spot fertilization can be excellent for home gardeners or smaller areas. Broadcasting works for larger plots but may require more frequent applications. This method depends on your plant soil, garden size, so experiment to see what works best for you. Broadcasting is how I fertilize empty beds before planting new crops midway through the year. When not to fertilize. Timing your fertilizer applications is important to your plant's health, especially during periods of dormancy. Fertilizing during the dormant season, typically in winter for perennials and shrubs and trees, can actually do more harm than good. When plants are dormant, they aren't actively growing, so applying fertilizer can lead to weak, unnatural growth. This new growth is more susceptible to pests, disease, putting your plants at risk instead of strengthening them. It's best to hold off until plants resume active growth in the spring. Another important tip is to avoid late fall fertilization. Fertilizing too late in the season can stimulate new growth that won't harden off in time before the frost. This tender growth is vulnerable to frost damage, which can harm your plants as they prepare for winter. Now, what about early fall sowings like spinach and lamb's lettuce? This means we should not fertilize these too, right? Wrong. These crops are different from perennials and shrubs that go dormant during the winter. Spinach and lamb's lettuce are cool weather crops, meaning they're still actively growing during the cooler months. Those are the key words, actively growing. Look up the days to maturity of your plant and ask yourself if the plant should be growing now. Fertilizing at the time of sowing in early fall can actually help these plants by providing the nutrients that they need to establish before cooler weather arrives. Since these crops can handle cooler temperatures, they benefit from a light feeding in early fall without the risk associated with late season fertilization. But it's important to avoid over-fertilizing with nitrogen-heavy products late in the season. Excess nitrogen can result in soft, tender growth that's more prone to frost damage. Instead, using a slow-release organic fertilizer will provide steady nutrients over time, supporting steady, strong growth. Fertilizing before heavy rain is also a mistake you want to avoid. While it may seem convenient, applying fertilizer before rain can cause nutrient runoff, meaning the fertilizer washes away before your plants have a chance to use it. This not only wastes fertilizer, but can also pollute nearby water sources. This is mostly, if not solely, true for synthetic fertilizers. Organic fertilizers and compost do not leach nutrients into the soil. Finally, I've already mentioned this, but it's worth repeating. Be careful when fertilizing seedlings and newly germinated plants. Young plants are soft and sensitive to strong fertilizers, and high concentrations can lead to salt buildup in the soil, which can burn the tender roots and stress the plant. Instead, use diluted solutions to provide gentle nourishment without overwhelming your seedlings. Most commercial seedlings and potting mixes have enough nutrients. If this is what you're using, there's no need to fertilize until you transplant into the garden. Soil testing. Before applying any fertilizer, it's important to start with a soil test. But I don't want to discourage you. If this is something that doesn't interest you, applying compost, organic balanced fertilizers, and azomite to your land will suffice. But If this is you, the following is key and worth considering. Fertilizing without knowing what your soil really needs can lead to over-fertilization, which is just as harmful as nutrient deficiencies. Fortunately, there are two main ways to test your soil: at-home kits and sending samples for soil testing to soil facilities. At-home testing kits are quick and simple. You can test for basic nutrients like N, P, and K, as well as the pH levels of your soil. While these kits provide a general idea of what your soil might be lacking, they're not as comprehensive as lab results. For a more detailed look, consider sending your soil samples to a professional soil testing facility. These labs will give you a full breakdown, including micronutrients in your soil. With this information, you can amend your soil to perfection, ensuring that your plants get exactly what they need to grow strong and healthy. If that seems like a lot of work, reach out to me in the comments section and I can help you. Every serious gardener should invest in this type of testing. It's important for improving your overall garden's productivity. Once you get your results, the next step is learning how to interpret them. Your soil test will show you where you need to amend both macro and micronutrient levels, so you can adjust your fertilization plan accordingly. Understanding these results helps you avoid guesswork and fertilize your garden with precision. When it comes to fertilizer, especially synthetic types, more is not better. By overdoing it, your plants could be killed or worse, expelled. By expelled, I mean that the plant becomes weakened, never fully recovers, and can linger for months, acting as a lighthouse, a beacon for pestilence, and ultimately wasting valuable space in your garden. This happens when plants receive too much of a specific nutrient. For instance, let's take a look at nitrogen. An excess of nitrogen can cause rapid, lush leaf growth at the expense of flower and fruits, leaving the plant vulnerable and unproductive. Imagine over-fertilizing your tomato plants with nitrogen. You'll get a plant that looks great, lush and full of leaves, but when it's time for fruiting, you might end up with far fewer tomatoes than what you're expecting. This is because the plant is using all of its energy to produce leaves instead of focusing on flowering and setting fruit. I consider this a mild toxicity. In extreme cases, excess synthetic nitrogen can lead to a nutrient imbalance in the soil, making it harder for plants to absorb other essential nutrients like phosphorus and potassium. It can also cause fertilizer burn, where too much nitrogen salts the soil, damaging the roots and leading to yellowing, stunted growth, and death. In this video, we discussed the importance of soil testing, the types of fertilizers available, and the best times to fertilize your plants. Soil testing is the secret to understanding your garden's nutrient needs and avoiding fertilizing too much or too little. We also explored the differences between organic and inorganic fertilizers. Organic options improve the soil health over time, where inorganic fertilizers provide a fast nutrient boost but may need more frequent applications. When it comes to timing, fertilize during the active growing seasons like spring and early fall, but avoid doing so during dormancy or late fall to prevent weak, frost-sensitive growth. For seedlings, use diluted solutions to avoid not burning your roots. By understanding your soil, choose the right fertilizers and applying it at the right time, you'll ensure a healthier and more productive garden. If you found this video useful, consider using some of these practices. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that beloved bell. I enjoyed making this video and I hope it helps you. Goodbye for now.